You can't talk a dismissive avoidant into healing. Your words will not convince them to work on themselves. Your words will not convince them to stop avoiding. When you are trying to talk them into healing, you're trying to use connection to bring them back in. You're trying to use connection to get through to them. When their nervous system is wired to find connection unsafe. And that very connection is what they're running from. Because that connection, in order to maintain it, requires them to get to an emotional depth that is frightening to them because they'd have to face themselves. And that's what they're running from. So when you're writing them that long letter, that long text, when you're pouring your heart out, explaining to them how great it could be and why they should do the work and why healing could be so wonderful and why the two of you should really work on it together to build a wonderful relationship, you're just giving them more of what triggers them. Your words are not going to land. They're not going to resonate because they are coming from a place of wounds. Wounds that stem from profound emotional neglect in childhood, deep fears that stem from those wounds because of shame. They developed shame from that consistent emotional neglect in childhood. Shame is that feeling that says, I'm defective, I'm unlovable, I'm worthless, I'm not enough. It's a toxic emotion. But those fears are based on that shame, based on the fear of that shame being exposed, that you're going to reject them because they're not enough. And it terrifies them to their core. So their nervous system has become hardwired to avoid anything that could potentially expose that shame and risk rejection. So when you're trying to use those words, you're trying to rationalize with deep subconscious fears. You're trying to rationalize with fear itself, which is the most irrational human emotion and one of the most powerful. The only thing that will potentially resonate with them are your actions. And the primary action that you can give them is your boundaries. And that likely means your absence, your silence, your no contact, you removing yourself from the relationship. When they feel that absence, they feel that loss, the reality sometimes can kick in if they let it. Because they might just go distract themselves and seek that external validation and that dopamine rush elsewhere. But human beings are motivated by scarcity, and when you make yourself scarce, they tend to feel it, and that can sometimes be the wake-up call. But the only chance to get through to them is through actions, not your words.